Kudos to the people who sit in the front row. It's always very bold. It's not a Gallagher event, so you guys won't be splattered with watermelons. That's good. I'm Dave Taylor, and I'll be talking about YouTube video and why your company, your product, your merchants, your affiliates all should be using it. And I've done a ton of video myself. We'll talk a lot about the nuts and bolts of it and some secrets about how to actually have your videos be findable. Because of that, obviously, as we go along, feel free to take pictures, stream stuff on Instagram, whatever. It's all good. You have the evaluation forms. It's very helpful to Sean and Missy and the rest of us at Affiliate Summit if you can fill that in. And if our session, see, we're going to talk about analytics. If our session is going to be like a typical YouTube video, halfway through the session, half of you will have left. So if that doesn't happen, I will assume we're doing well. But that's the kind of stuff we're going to need to talk about in terms of actually having an effective presence on YouTube. So first thing I want to say is I've already heard people say that YouTube is the #2 site on the web for traffic. It's somewhere between 2 and 3, depending on who you look at. But suffice to say, it has insanely large numbers. So let me start with a question. How many people have videos on YouTube for your business? Okay, good. Now, how many of you actually have your own channel as opposed to just randomly putting videos up? Good. So that's a really important step along the way. And you know, when I first looked at that, I thought, so basically it's like a TV with a remote that has, 50 digits because there's so many channels. But what it does is it lets people actually find your content, and hopefully if they found one thing of yours, then they can find additional things. But the important thing is that it is incredibly important to be on YouTube, not just because it's a Google property, but because it shows up in all the search results. So what do I mean by that? So before we go there, let me just give you some stats that I got from YouTube. This is like the end of 2015 numbers, and it's actually 1.3 billion active users on a given month, which actually represents like 1/3 of all people online go on YouTube. And the sort of more boggling thing is that it's something like 1/6 of all people on planet Earth go onto YouTube. So, I mean, those numbers and the numbers for Facebook are really kind of mind-boggling because I've been online since it was the ARPANET. And we never thought we would actually have a meaningful percentage of the global population. The numbers that I think are most interesting on this are that hours spent watching videos on YouTube is up 60% year over year. And that means that not only are more people watching videos, but each person is watching more content on YouTube. So it's really a huge success story. 80% of the videos are coming from non-US, and something like 70 to 75% of the visitors to YouTube are non-US. And that's good because I think people still have a sense of the internet is mostly US based, and I don't think that's accurate and hasn't been for a very long time. Another really important one is over half the video uploaded to YouTube has been recorded on mobile devices. And one of the things we're going to talk about is the fact that your phone or your tablet is plenty good enough, with just a couple little tweaks, but it's plenty good enough to be able to do recordings. Now, of those of you that are doing video, how many of you are raise your hand if you're using a mobile device for your recording? Okay, so it's interesting what a small percentage of people that is. It works really well. In fact, last year at Affiliate Summit, actually at the Consumer Electronics Show, I sat in my hotel room and recorded a video for my YouTube channel in the room using my phone. So I'll actually talk about gear in a few minutes, but mobile devices, there's no downside, and it's already in your pocket, you already have it. And let's see, every 60 seconds, 300 hours of content are uploaded, which is a little mind-boggling. Which certainly means that there's no way to watch everything. So just, forget that. Although I'm pretty sure my teen children think that they can achieve that, maybe in specific categories. But here's really the most compelling reason for going on YouTube. And for those of you that are already on YouTube, this is not going to be news. But for those of you that aren't on YouTube, this is really something to think about. So I searched for bicycle basket on Google, and how many matches did I get? 3.5 million results. Same search on YouTube, and I got 4,800 results. Now, maybe it's just my math and my logic, but I would rather compete with 4,800 videos than with 3.5 million videos. Make sense? So one of the best reasons to use YouTube is that it's a smaller world. Everyone's using YouTube. They all enjoy watching YouTube videos, and there's less competition for any given segment than there would be with regular Google pages or regular web pages. Now, having said that, I know most people have their website and they work with SEO maybe, or they do it themselves, or they think that a plugin actually obviates them having to have any expertise, be that as it may. It's really hard to stand out in this vast ocean of the internet. And video gives you that possibility. And so I think that this is my most compelling slide for why you should be on YouTube. But there's more. So when I first started doing video, in fact, it's funny because the very first video I did was Intel calling me up and saying, we'll pay you money, can you do some videos for our channel? And I looked at the Intel channel and they have like 7 million subscribers. And it was a little daunting, and I had no idea what I was doing. And my first reaction was, I almost said, no, it's too hard. But then I said, yeah, I'll figure it out, okay. But it turns out that with modern technology and modern devices, it's really not very hard at all. And so what I'm showing you in this photograph, and my neighbors are very familiar with this, is that this is one of my favorite shooting spots. So I actually have bought some props. That table is an actual coffee shop table from a coffee shop supply company. So believe it or not, it's an $800 table. But my vision is always, I'm sitting at a coffee shop across the table from you, and I'm talking about, here's this thing I bought and here's how it works. That's my brand. And so what you can see is I have this great backdrop coming into my front door, which is this rock wall. It's beautifully lit, and it brings out a really warm tone on the film. And so this is my setup. I have a wired microphone. I have one light that's just trying to manage how things are lit. That's it. So turns out that wasn't actually very expensive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you just a minute or two of the video that I recorded that's right here. But before I do, since I can't stop the video part way, I want to just highlight to you that I have actually outsourced to a company doing an animated intro. And then I also do things like picture-in-picture to highlight specific details. So you guys ready to learn about a pair of headphones? All right, if it works.
Dave Taylor here again, and this time I want to talk about these. These are the Soul Republic Relays. These are sports earbuds. They call them sports headphones, but I think of them as earbuds. And they have the nice iOS-friendly 3-button control, volume up, down, pause, play. There's various other things you can do if you do like super.
So I'm going to stop there. And I wish I could stop and freeze on that image, but Keynote doesn't let you do that. But all of the stuff that you just saw, the edit, the sound, the music that then fades out as I start talking, the little title line that comes up, the insert and everything, I do it all in iMovie. So one of the other things that I want to highlight is that you do need a little bit of software. You do need to have enough savvy to at least get your start and stop times right. And of course, there's all these great sort of outtakes. And I keep threatening my kids that I should actually keep all my outtakes, because it'll end and then I'll make comments, editorial comments about how I think I did on the video. And they want to just keep all that for posterity. I don't, so I don't. But at least being able to do that really helps. But here's what's interesting is when we look at the analytics, so you saw that sort of animated intro, I lose people that come to the video and they watch like half of the intro and they're like, no, this isn't what I want, which I find really interesting. And those analytics, of course, turn out to be really important for you to be able to understand and quantify your visitor's experience with actually checking out your video. But a lot of the other stuff I do just to sort of make it friendly, and one of the things I'd use as a sort of device is that on the subtitles, sometimes I'll have snarky or sarcastic subtitles that make fun of myself. And people love that stuff because most of the tech stuff that you encounter, most video is fairly dry. This is what I call the law of podcasting, is just because you have a microphone and a record button, it doesn't make you interesting. Right? How many people listen to podcasts and fallen asleep? Right? I remember actually falling asleep and missing my stop on a bus because it was my friend's podcast. And I was listening to it and it was like, you are so monotone. This is so not catching my attention. I'm so asleep. And so video is the same sort of thing. Have a gimmick. Have something that makes it fun. You know, John Chow does a great job with his videos. He'll record them at restaurants and stuff. He's very, he has that lively personality. And so one of the things I've learned to do is not just with YouTube videos, but with just video overall. Turns out on the side, I'm also a professional film critic. So I look at all of this stuff and I ask what works? What makes this movie engaging? What makes this TV ad something that draws an emotion from me? And, I'm not saying you need to go to USC film school and become a great auteur. But on the other hand, being conscious of the fact that you're in that space and you need to be interesting. You can't just have, even if you're just recording your screen and talking, still make it engaging, make it lively. And in terms of video, I will tell you, this is another real watchword, is really good audio and mediocre video does a whole lot better than really good video and mediocre audio. So the probably most important thing to get right on your video is to have good audio. Now, on modern smartphones, their microphones are pretty good. But here's what I've been using. So this little tiny thing, and this is its little travel case, right? So you can just keep this in your pocket. This is not some huge boom mic that I need to hire someone to use. This little guy is a wired lavalier mic that, just like this one, I just clip on and have a wire running to my phone. And then here's my tripod, my travel tripod, right? And you can see my very expensive video gear is actually an iPhone. And there's, the one challenge is to try to get yourself squared on the image, but if you have someone else who can just adjust it when you're ready to go, having a wired lav, to me, gets rid of a lot of the complications. And you don't want to have a microphone far away because it tends to give you a lot of echo and a lot of environmental noise. So I have spent really a stupid number of hours trying to figure out audio. I've gone through a lot of microphones. And the microphone I use at home is this $25 Audio-Technica mic. It's ridiculously cheap. I actually buy them like 2 or 3 at a time because it lasts probably about 4 or 5 months and then it starts to get staticky because the connection gets bad. But I figure for $25, if I had to use one every single recording, it would be a decent deal. So again, what I want to reinforce here is that you do not need to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars on a setup. It's really about understanding all your equipment and understanding how to do it the right way. And I'll also say that having done recordings in live environments, like I actually started out doing recordings in a coffee shop because I knew the owner of the shop and he's like, yeah, bring your camera, you can do it. Turns out to be really hard to do it when other people are around you. So if I was sitting in the audience and wanted to record a really quiet little video while I was here, it become very self-conscious. And you suddenly realize why in Hollywood productions they empty a restaurant and then hire extras who sit there and do that. So there's no noise and they don't care what you're doing and they don't care if you say, no, let's shoot it again, you need to look to the left at this point, whatever. And again, I do a lot of the recordings at home, obviously sometimes on my very front step, and my kids are very used to me getting partway through a recording and saying, no, that's not the right vendor name. All right, I'll start over, and just do it again and again and again. And that's another thing, this is something you can learn from photographers too. Take 20 shots and hope one comes out. So I have an uncle who's a professional photographer. He used to say if he could get one good shot out of each roll of film, I know that makes me old, roll of film, so conceptualize with me. But it's the same thing as if it takes you an hour to get 3 minutes of video, you're doing really well. So when I'm working with a client and they want me to do like a 10-minute video, I might book a whole day to get 10 good minutes. And that's okay. Just do it again and do it again and do it again. And one of the things I've found when I've worked with actors is that they relax into it. The first couple of times they're really anxious about getting all the words right. And then it's just like, okay, I can work a little more calmly now because I've already sort of have an okay version in the can, as it were, so now I can work on other parts of it. So relax, have fun, and in fact, you having fun turns out to be another really good marker for the video. So one of the other things I practice before I start every recording is I just consciously smile. Because when you're smiling, like your eyes are different and everything, so I start my video in a good mood. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for watching my video. So there's audio, and then lighting is another one. And this is sort of a classic lighting chart. And I have multiple lights, and it makes a huge difference to get the lighting right. And, you know, last year when I was recording in my hotel room, I was actually really glad they didn't have video monitors, because I took apart all their lights and put them all in one corner of the room so that I could duplicate this sort of thing. Took off all the light shades. I actually had my phone on this tripod on a chair on the bed because I didn't want to be shooting up. I wanted to be shooting slightly down, which is a much more flattering angle. And again, photographers know this. So if I'm taking a portrait of you, I never want to shoot up. Especially if you're shooting women, don't ever shoot from below them. It's not going to come out well. And you do the same thing with video, you know, and lighting, again, sometimes you just have bad lighting. You know, here I am at the casino, blink, 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 blink. And that's okay, because that's an environment that you're trying to create. That's a mood you're trying to create. But paying attention to lighting, paying attention to make sure that your face is well illuminated is really important. Now, I do want to just say, just for a minute, that a lot of people don't want to be on camera. And that's okay, because you can either hire someone to do it, find someone in your company that enjoys being on camera, or you can do something like screen captures, right? So you can use something like Camtasia or something, and then you just narrate what's on the screen. I find that can be fairly boring. So when I do something like that, what I'll do is I'll have me on camera introducing what we're going to do, and then cut to, now it's you know, the screen and I'm narrating, and then it cuts back to me wrapping it up on camera. Not everyone has to do that, but again, remember, whatever you're doing, you still need to keep it lively, and obviously if you're capturing the screen, invest in a microphone, even one where it's, you know, sort of this design where it just plugs into your USB. Any microphone is going to be better than what's built into your laptop. And so that covers maybe 30 or 40% of what makes you successful on YouTube, because this is sort of the analog of, I write really good content on my blog, isn't that all I have to do? So producing really good video isn't enough. What you need to do is you need to also spend the time to take advantage of all the tools that YouTube gives you to make your video more findable. So one of the things it lets you do is it lets you put in a bunch of keywords. So use every damn keyword you can think of. I use redundant keywords. I'll use keywords. I mean, this is not AdWords. I'm not bidding on an ad. I'll use keywords that are actually competitive products. I'll use keywords that, as you can see here, I use my own name as a keyword. Does anyone ever search for my name? I don't know, but if they do, all my videos will come up. Same with the description. Now in the description, that's the second box down, in the description, if you put in a URL, this is something that YouTube doesn't tell you, if you make it a fully qualified URL that starts with HTTP:, it will be clickable. So at the end of your description, you can put in a URL that can go directly to maybe a bit.ly if you want to do something like that, or it could go directly to your website. Using that as an affiliate link directly, I would probably be a little leery, because Google's pretty savvy and they would probably just filter that out, just like sites like Pinterest do. But that's really important. But of course, the most important thing is the title of your video. And like an ad, like anything else, this has got to be good marketing copy. What you need to have for your title is something that makes someone want to click on the video. And one of the really great ways to research this is to search YouTube for your keywords and look at the videos that come up the most or come up the highest, and look at their titles and just ask yourself, is this compelling? Is this something that makes me feel like this is going to deliver what I want? Right? If I'm looking for a review of Soul Republic headphones, you know, this is a nice, concise, accurate description of what my video is. It's not cool headphones, man. And I think that's something that people have a lot of challenge with. So one more thing on this is that Google or YouTube, when it actually publishes your video, it can automatically also send out an announcement on Google Plus and on Twitter, and I use that. I redundantly also announce my videos and put it out on all social media, but I figured if YouTube wants to do that, I'm good. And so what I do is, again, like anything else, that's marketing copy. So what do I have on the right? $59 for sports earbuds with built-in mic and controls for iOS. Nice job, Soul Republic. But hang on, there's something you need to know before you pick up your own relays, ... Right, so there's that little tease. And so hopefully people will say, oh, what's that? Click, and they watch my video. Marketing, marketing, marketing. And more than that, I will say that not just in video, but in business overall, tell a story. It amazes me how many people don't think that their business is about storytelling. If you're into marketing, if you're advertising, if you're an affiliate manager, you need to tell a story. You need to get people engaged and interested, and then you can sell them. You can't just go straight to the sale. Hopefully this is not news to anyone in the room, because this is so much, to me, the core of a successful business. So we have that. Here's another really great thing, is that YouTube has all these annotation capabilities. And as with everything that Google does, and I will preface this, I love Google, I have friends that work at Google. Google has been paying my mortgage for a decade through AdSense. But they are horrible on user interface design. I don't know a single Google property that has a good UI. Does anyone disagree? You're holding up your phone. So you think Android has a good interface? Which version? Version 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? There's 980 active versions of Android out there now. I kid you not, right? So there's a good interface? Maybe it's, I don't know, the HTC version of it, you know? But my point is that on the YouTube side, there's a lot of neat things you can do and overlay on top of your video. For example, a click to subscribe button. And when you do that, and you can see I'm just adding an annotation, on the bottom there's a timeline, and I can pick when that button shows up and when it fades away. I can put multiple buttons, I can have different words on the buttons. And then if they click on it, they've subscribed to my channel. Make it easy for them to become part of your family. Make it easy for them to engage with you, right? You can do the same thing with click to visit our website, or click to join our mailing list, or click to visit the vendor site, if I'm talking about a vendor or a merchant. Really, really beneficial to learn how to do this. And one of the things is, I didn't know how to do this when I first started doing YouTube, and I have about 250 videos on my channel now. And so what I do is when I have time, I will go and look at my videos by traffic, and then I'll go back to some of my older videos that are getting a lot of views and add these. So you don't have to do it as you upload. You can do it even a year later. Just go back and find your most popular videos and make sure they have clickable things on them. Why not? And then there's actually a lot of good analytics. This, you know, one thing I will say in Google's favor is they love their quant. They're all a bunch of mathematicians. So here's a video I did that documented how you go from a Nest 2 to an original Nest to a third generation Nest. And I will say that the company sent me a free thermostat because I told them I'd do this video. So that was a good deal. And you get this really interesting data about like average view duration, right? So if you look, my video is 8 minutes and 19 seconds long. It says it just under the word smart. I know you can't read that, so that's why I'm reading it for you. But average view duration is 3 minutes and 49 seconds. And that's pretty good. So half the people make it halfway through my video. That's what I was saying. So actually now, we are just about at our halfway mark. Actually, no, we're almost done. So pretty much everyone's still here, which is great. So I'm doing better than my YouTube videos do. You guys are great. And you can even see on this video, just with the pop-up ads, I made $35 just having the ad or the video sitting on YouTube, which, you know, that's not exactly going to buy me that new Tesla that I've been looking at. But if you have 200 videos making you $1 a month, and they keep doing that for years, it's not bad. It slowly builds, it slowly accumulates. But there's more. There's also psychographic and demographic data. So one of the fun things is that apparently women are not interested in replacing their Nest thermostats with newer versions, because I have 8% female, 92% male watching this video. That's really heavily skewed. And you can see that just about everyone watches it on YouTube. But all of this data, all of the analytics, I love analytics because it gives me insight into what's actually happening. It's really easy to imagine what's going on. It's really important to know what's really happening. And so the one I love the most is they have what they call retention analytics. And this shows you over time, as the video plays, what percentage of people are still watching it. So you can see that initial drop is like in the first second of my video. As they like get to the video, they press play, and they're like, whoa, no, boom, and they're back. So it's like having that video animated start. It's just like, you know, it goes doop like that. And then people tend to hang around. And where this gets really interesting is that you can look for upticks or parts where it stays level or it drops off quickly, and then go back to your video and say, what do I do at that moment that so many people leave? And that ability is something that, I mean, like TV now, they do that. So, you know, QVC is a great example of this, where they'll talk about, here's this product and it has 3 characteristics. Let me talk about each one. And they have a monitor showing how many people are calling based on each characteristic they mention. So they will dynamically in real time say, oh, well, when I mentioned that first one, we got a lot more calls. Let's talk a lot more about that feature. And so this gives you that same sort of ability. Crack a joke and see, do you lose people or does everyone stick around to hear the punchline? Great, great analytics. And so my penultimate slide is, here's the math, right? 1.3 billion active users, much less competition than a web page, and it's really not incredibly hard to produce videos, and there's tons of places and people you can outsource with, including me, and it really becomes a pretty easy source to generate more traffic, more leads, more sales. And just really quickly, I will say that Facebook doesn't like YouTube because, of course, Facebook and Google are great competitors. So there's just some interesting analytics really super quickly. If you actually upload a video to Facebook and then share it, you'll get twice as many views because of the way their internal algorithms work. And generally, statistically, what I read was that it also means you get twice as many likes, 3 times as many shares, and a whopping 7 times more comments in the aggregate overall for videos you upload to Facebook. Now the downside is that doesn't give you that popularity number on YouTube of, you know, 7,000 views or 36,000 views. So that's something you have to balance. And maybe one way you could do that is you upload your video with a good call to action in it, because you want something to happen at the end of the video. You upload it to Facebook, and then the next day maybe you embed that from YouTube. So now you're covering both of your markets. And finally, if you upload something to Facebook, you can actually embed that video onto your blog. So that's nice too, because obviously you can do that in YouTube. So that was my 18-minute talk in 26 minutes. We have time for a couple of questions. I wanted to make sure I had that. And let's see, if you can go first. Yeah.
Sure. So you said you could embed Facebook videos on your blog or whatever. Do you see an increase in the Facebook views of that because you embedded that? Or would you rather embed like a YouTube video because you're going to get YouTube search?
Right, so the question is, if I embed a Facebook video on my website, will I get more views on Facebook because of that? And the answer is I actually don't have that data, so I don't know. I could see either way. I could see on the one hand, Facebook might say, this video is getting a lot of views, let's make it more visible. On the other hand, Facebook might say, you're not watching it on Facebook, whatever, we don't care. So, not sure how that would go.
So do you tend to then use YouTube videos when you embed?
My general approach is exactly that, is that I just post things on YouTube and then I share them on Facebook multiple times and on multiple channels and on every other social networking site I can possibly imagine. Because my goal is to get the Facebook numbers up, because the more popular your video is, the more visible your video is. You know, it sort of feeds on itself, which is why when you do a search, the videos that have millions of views tend to be right on the top. Yes? Actually, yes, you in the back. Yeah.
After 10 years experience, what have you found is the optimal time, the length of YouTube that people go from YouTube and or actually gets the most views?
Right, so the question is, what's the optimal, right, I see that. What's the optimal duration for a YouTube video? And the answer is it depends. You know, the fact is I've seen 90-second videos that do that exact same thing, and I've seen 20-minute videos that have a little drop at the beginning and then it just sort of sputters along. As a scientist, experiment. Try things, look at your analytics, and see what you get. Let's do 2 more super quick questions. You, please.
So if you have an audio-only podcast, what would you put as the video so you can upload it to YouTube? Not
Right.
still frame, because that would be really
Right, okay, so if you have, I'm going to just go quick. So if you have an audio-only podcast and you want to get it on YouTube, what should you put as the visuals? I'd do a slideshow. I'd do something that's either relevant or really amusingly not relevant. So you're talking about like how important it is to eat well and to be really cautious with your food, and you're showing pictures of McDonald's or something. You know, just have some fun. Being playful cannot be a problem. I mean, you know, people really appreciate that. Yes, last question.
So you mentioned in the description not to use affiliate links in the description, but what about on the clickable during the video where the annotations?
So the question is, if you shouldn't be using affiliate links in the description, should you use them on the annotations? And I would experiment with that. I would try putting up a video that has affiliate links embedded in it as annotations, and I would put up another video, not the same video, but a different video that doesn't have that, and then give them both 30 days or something, and then go back and look at the analytics and see what works. I mean, my fear is always that Google can very easily identify these things and then can just say, we're not going to let that link go through. So, with that, thank you all very much. Find me on YouTube and enjoy the show.